Star Trek Beyond, and you know what? The Beyond part of the title takes on a little bit of a different meaning. Since the last Star Trek film, sadly we have lost Leonard Nimoy and Anton Yelchin, a sci-fi icon and a young man who is well on his way to becoming a sci-fi icon. One of my favorite Star Trek films was actually The Undiscovered Country, a reference to Hamlet and his term for death. I know I usually start with a joke, but I just wanted to acknowledge that Yelchin and Nimoy, like many Star Trek actors before them, have gone to the undiscovered country. They've gone beyond, and they will be missed. The question is, will J.J. Abrams be missed? In fact, this is the first modern Trek without the man who made it all happen. He's not directing, he's not writing, and it's ironic that he made the swap over to Star Wars because he went on record as saying he wanted to bring a little more wars to Trek when he wanted to reinvent it. Instead, this time he'll just have to settle for producing the movie and raking in the profit. But seriously, think about what this guy's accomplished. That's like directing a Marvel and a DC film. To paraphrase one of my favorite TV shows, if there are two cupcakes, you don't eat one and lick the other. At the very least, before J.J. Abrams licked George Lucas's cupcake, man, that sounds wrong, he did very well to set up this new franchise for new director Justin Lin. I say new director, but really Lin has quite a filmography, including most of the Fast and Furious films. Now, I know what you're thinking. Fast and Furious, not real school's cup of tea, but there is a catch. Lin has actually directed 3 of the best episodes of that aforementioned TV show. And as my Twitter feed stated months ago when they released the first trailer for Star Trek Beyond, I had no intention of seeing Fast and Furious in space. However, there's another catch, as it is co-penned by Scotty himself, Simon Pegg. So the question becomes, what are we gonna get? The tongue-in-cheek wit of Pegg? Or motorcycle chases on an alien planet? Because let me tell you something, Vin Diesel as Groot is about as close as I want to get to Fast and Furious in space. The truth is, or Riddick, Riddick was pretty good actually. The truth is, we got both. There are some witty scenes, some snappy dialogue, and some funny interactions between characters, but there is more than enough of the lowest common denominator type of action film as well. That did bring up a few questions though. For instance, why is there a perfectly working motorcycle on an abandoned starship on an abandoned alien planet? And why is Beastie Boys' Sabotage the unofficial theme song for this trilogy? Second time in 3 films? It was also the manner in which Sabotage was used in the climax of the film to actually narrate some of the action. I rolled my eyes at that moment because it was exactly what I feared from Justin Lin directing this film. It wasn't what I wanted to see, and it was definitely the "are you for real?" moment. The lowest common denominator action movie vibe wasn't the only thing that I have to criticize about this film, as I actually found that Lin and the writing team played it pretty safe otherwise, almost repeating what they've done in the past. And even the likes of Idris Elba can't escape it. Talk about playing it safe, my real students out there know how much I respect the work of one Mr. Idris Elba, and yet he really phoned it in as supervillain Crawl, a character who can't even escape a trope for a name. But maybe that's because he's seen it before. I know I have. For the millionth time, okay, maybe that's a hyperbole, for the 12th time in all of these movies, the Federation has severely screwed up someone's life, to the point where they want to kill millions of innocent Federation citizens in the process of their revenge. Even within this trilogy, you think to yourself, okay, the first time it was a time traveler, he imploded Vulcan, how many times is that going to happen? But by the 3rd time that somebody seeks revenge by killing millions, maybe the Federation should start changing their policies. Or stop picking dudes from awesome BBC shows. Even though the villain was once again a trope, what about the rest of the cast? I mean, Star Trek films are all about ensemble casts, right? No. Much like the Justice League, it's really all about the big 3, isn't it? Listen, we all love Scotty, especially in the new ones. He's hilarious. They tried to give Sulu a much more progressive backstory. In fact, they've even tried to give Uhura more meaning by making her date Spock. But that's really it, isn't it? It's about Kirk, Spock, and Bones. Even in the Next Generation movies, First Contact is the closest thing you get to an ensemble story. That's simply something that Star Trek writers have never really gotten the hang of, making it a true ensemble piece. But if you're going to base a film franchise off 3 characters, you better make those 3 characters very charming. And luckily, in this new trilogy, those 3 characters are the best part of every film. In fact, I heard that Carl Urban almost didn't make this third film, and thank God he did, because his Bones, once again, steals the show. He's got a great balance, a great way of managing to pay homage to the late, great DeForest Kelley, and yet making Bones all his own. That's not easy to do. Filling someone else's shoes and yet buying a new pair. That definitely makes him Star Trek Beyond's for the win. And the real sad thing is, it may never happen again. Carl Urban, as I mentioned before, and Zachary Quinto don't think they will return to the franchise, and sadly, as mentioned previously, Anton Yelchin has completed his mission. So, if this is the end of the newest Star Trek franchise, it would be okay. No, the fact is it was good enough. Granted, it wasn't my favorite out of the trilogy, and it definitely falls back on action movie formula, but Lin didn't tart it up too much. It wasn't too fast or too furious. It was just right. For a summer blockbuster where you can watch brainless action. It's enjoyable enough, and it's what you'd expect, which makes it an earn it. Poll question, what was your favorite film out of this new Star Trek trilogy? As always, leave your answers in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to Real School, follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link, and you can become part of my Patreon team. But until next time, school's out.